everyone. We are live again on a Tuesday night, 1 hour earlier. I know last week we were at 4 o'clock and today we're at 6 o'clock. It's a Tuesday. I'm Jeanette and I love books. I love books. And then you know what is even better than loving books? Is being able to chat with the people that have written the books. So tonight we have a local Langley resident where I live in British Columbia, who has written 2 books and soon to be on the virtual MYBC bookstore shelves. I've sent it over to my webmaster, Jeremy from TUI Media, to get her books up there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Marya Jo, and I'm going to let her introduce her last name because I will get it incorrectly. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marya Jo Jolicouer Do. The way that I've always tried to explain it to everyone is Marya, the planet Mars, and ya dirty old brat, Marya. And then Jolicouer, it's French for happy heart.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I introduced you that you're from Langley. So
Yes.
What is the 2 books that you've written? And then we'll unpack the process.
Okay, the one book is Do You Know Me? Prelude to the Inevitable. And the other book is Do You Know Me Within?
Okay.
Which is basically the poetry from Do You Know Me? Prelude to the Inevitable.
Okay, so let's dial it back. And why were you spurred to take us either typewriter or pen to paper to write these books?
Years and years and years and years of experience being on the sad end of abuse.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, what this book does is it basically tells whoever is reading all the different ways in which a person can be abused, because I've experienced a lot of them through all the different relationships that I have had in the past. When you're reading it, you're not just reading it like an ordinary storybook or an ordinary novel or something like that. It's written to reach the mind of a broken person who is trying to put the pieces together. So you have to write them in pieces so that they can grasp at the ones that they understand. It's
how long ago?
Pardon?
How long ago did you write this book?
20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the first 40 years of my life were definitely ones that are meant to be written in a book and find some meaning for it. And the meaning is that I found a way to be able to share my experiences with other women that are going through the same experience right now or have gone through that experience, and showed them how to find that place within themselves where they can stand, where they will not be moved, where they can build that little circle and develop a world that they are in control of, because that's what usually is the problem. You give your control over to other people, and therefore the abuse becomes a reality.
So, there's many things there that I want to, like I say, unpack. Is 20 years ago, how did you go about wanting to either, how did you structure the book? How did you be able to share these words to a page? Like I said, there's a couple of things that I want to unpack here.
Okay. Okay. So, how did I structure the book? I structured I made the book. Literally, if you were somebody who likes screenplays.
Okay.
And you or you're somebody who wants to go to a one-man show. This book shows me sitting at a table typing on a computer, sitting on the couch, writing on a book, going for a walk with you, and then sitting and having a chat with you on a park bench, and going out for coffee with you and sitting with you and chatting with you over the table, and actually asking you questions and telling you what's happening right now, and saying it in such a way that you feel as if you're there,
Oh, wow.
experiencing it. And I even tell you to go get a glass of water because you've been sitting here too long reading to me, listening to me talk to you, and that it's time to take a break, think about what I thought, and then come back and we'll continue on. And there's even a couple of places where I say, hey, if this is too much for you, set the book aside and we'll talk later, because the book is not meant to be read from beginning to end. It's
Okay.
meant to be absorbed line by line by line, because it's written in prose, broken sentences. Because when you are an abused woman, you cannot think straight lined. You have to grab at this and grab at that and grab at this in order to be able to understand. So the book's written that way. In fact, the Canadian Library down in Ontario, they called it a self-actualization spiritual psychology book, meaning that you are experiencing the moment as it happens, and that you are drawing on your spirituality and your faith and your trust and your beliefs, and you are looking for somebody to tell you, what am I doing wrong? How do I get out of this? And the book is saying, hey, you know
Wow. Wow. So who would this book be for? Because in my mind, I'm thinking of a couple of different avenues where I would suggest the book. So when you wrote it 20 years ago, the journey was to put this book in whose hand? What
well,
reader's hand?
that's kind of funny you'd say this, because right on the very front page it says, my
Okay.
intention is to use the money I receive from the royalties to enable the books to be given to women's shelters, teenage outlooks, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, mental health units, doctors' offices, churches, and charities that have people in need of knowing that they are not alone.
I just got chill bumps. That whole list. And once that person reads the book or self-actualizes the book deep within themselves,
Mm-hmm.
each one of those people that you've got listed will deliver the, as like to say, the stewardship of your art or the stewardship of your story back to the people that they are in care of. So
That's right.
somebody in Narcotics Anonymous reading the book is a different holistic approach to the story to deliver it.
Bingo. That's exactly what my intention is. It's meant for that person who is looking for a way out, a way to be able to find that strength within themselves to be able to say, hey, this is not the way it should be. This is the
Mm,
what I should be doing. And so I tell you about the carpenter. I tell you about the hitchhiker. I tell you about the construction worker. I tell you about the cook. I tell you about all the different men in my life, 20 years and before, that did things that they should not have done. That I
mm,
and it's not their fault. That's the problem
mm.
here. It's my fault because I allowed it to happen. And that is the story here. It's you are in control always, all the time. And it is up to you to realize that you are in control. You are allowing this to happen because you said it could happen. You let it happen. And this book says many, many times, There is a way, and this is it.
So let's go into the title, because the way that I know the word know is K-N-O-W. And in your title, let's break apart the title and where that came from.
Do.
Yeah.
Do means do.
Yes. Yes. Action.
You means the person who is reading the book.
Okay.
Know means you gotta learn how to say that. You have to learn how to be able to say no. And me, that's the person that you're looking for. You are looking for your answers through you. You are looking for everything through you. Do you know me? When you ask someone, do you know me? It's not, if you don't even know who you are, how in the world are you going to be able to expect them to know you?
And even if we put that K-N-O-W, like if I were to ask you, do you know me? Realistically, your answer should be no,
That's
because
right.
you really don't know 100% me.
That is the little girl who had all the dreams in the world. That is the little girl who thought that everything was perfect, that she was already in heaven.
Ah.
And now, over the 40 years that this book represents, that little girl was reaching out saying, hey, this isn't right. Hey, don't you remember who I am?
Wow, amazing. So book number 2, what is book number 2 about?
Book number 2 takes virtually, because of book number 1 being written in prose and poetry and things like that, book number 2 is basically saying within. These are all the thoughts that I had, all of the poetry, all of the poems that I wrote that created book number 1. So it's basically, this was the first book, but this is the second book, but this was the first book to create the second book. So it's, again,
It's like they're sisters, or
yes,
sisters that walking the same path.
that's
Could
right.
I be so bold as to ask you to read one of your poems?
Yes.
I love poetry. I write poetry too. It's my way sometimes to get thoughts out of my head. So when somebody shares their poetry with me, it goes to my heart. So thank you so much.
No worries, no worries. Um, uh, there is a small little section. Okay, can I just read you a little bit before the poem?
You can do whatever you want, darling.
Okay,
You are the author.
okay. Uh, I have always believed that if you say that you love someone, you had better know what love is. I believe that love is forever. I believe that to take love away from the one that you say you love is wrong. God would never stop loving me. So if we walk in his ways, how can we stop loving who we love? I have always believed that if you have got the guts to express to another that you love them, you had better be prepared to mean it is forever. Believe me, it is hard, and I love lots of people. I even love those who have hurt me. With God, I know I can do it. This is a feeling that should never go wrong. I may not like what you do, but I will always love you. Love should only grow and grow and grow and get so big that you want more and more and more of it. And here's the poem. Love will never end. You have found it. You know it is there. You have seen it. You have felt the care. It is all around you, but yet you are scared to touch it, to bathe in it, and to let it on, and to let it in. Undemanding as it may be, you demand to know why it is there. The love we share within our souls began once in our ancient roles. It does grow stronger and stronger as we meet again and again until then. And when then comes, our love will never end. Jo Love.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much. Your words bring such beautiful imagery to mind as I grow in love with me, love with what I'm doing, love with the people that I surround myself. It's almost could be an anthem for the times. And that's something that kind of came to me. This book was written 20 years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a timely message that gets woven throughout. It'll never end. Let's just put it that way. I just feel it will never end.
Well,
So
well, well, that is it. That's just it. I mean, like you have to be very careful when you, and I hate to say this, but the kids nowadays, they just give their love away. There's just so many of them that think that they love each other, but this book shows you what love is and what lust is. There is a
mm,
very big difference between love and lust, and lust is what had gotten me into an awful lot of trouble. And I get to tell you a lot of stories about it.
it's interesting that you say about that word love because I think last year I was kind of sitting there, and you know how we say, "Oh, I just love your eyes," or "I just love the way I love the way that you walk," or "Oh, I just love Oreo cookies," and that we
Hmm.
attach that word love to things and or motions. If you, I'm sure you know what I'm getting at here,
Hmm.
instead of truly what that word needs to sink into
That's right.
and become and evolve. That it's better. Oh, I lust after having blue eyes like you have, is almost to me much more powerful. Or I lust after having a, I don't know, but you understand, it's like using the right word before that word almost honors that word
Yeah,
better than saying love.
that's right. That's absolutely correct. Uh, uh, when I wrote these books, I was actually using a computer that had been created by one of my outreach gentlemen. I was running an outreach called the Do You Know Me outreach in Enderby, BC, and Gillian Elmgren was his name. He took about 5 or 6 computers and he stuck it all together to create this computer for me. And he taught me how to use a computer for the very first time. So the writing the book to me was extremely important because I finally had something to put my thoughts on that couldn't get destroyed. And if you go to my Jo Loves Creations webpage, you'll be able to see me sitting at the computer and some of my children sitting at the computer. I had 100 and 113 of them one Christmas. And it was at the computer where I sat and I had all my thoughts. And because it was an outreach, I didn't know whether the police were going to be coming to the door to drop off a kid, or whether someone was going to be showing up with and saying, "Hey, can I stay the night? I got kicked out," or stuff like that. And I would and so I would be at the basically almost at the door. Typing on my computer with my ear open, listening and waiting for this to happen. And it took me about 2.5 years to write the book.
And that's important, I think, to share, because everybody thinks it's, in this day and age when people think things happen instantaneously, or we might be sold a program that you too can publish a book in 6 weeks, and the quality of what that book is looking like. I'm not saying if you can't do a book in 6 weeks, though the kind of book that you wrote, how
Mm,
do you turn out 40 years of story in a 6
Well, I
6 week.
am writing another one, by the way.
Oh,
um,
excellent. Do we have a title, a working title?
Do you know me free?
Oh, I look forward to that. And when is the prospective date for that one?
Yeah, it's taking its time.
Again, and you know, it will arrive when it is to arrive,
That's right.
out of your mind, body, and soul.
That's right.
So I know, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, my whole purpose originally at the very, very beginning was um, I hadn't even thought about writing the book. What I wanted to do was I wanted to take my poetry and I wanted to put it somewhere where I wouldn't lose it, because I had scraps of paper, I had napkins, I have pieces of cardboard, because I'm not the writer really of the book. That's the reason why I have the pseudonym Joe Love. I sometimes don't even know what I'm writing until I'm done. And then I go back and I look at it and it's like, oh, okay. Um, wow. Where'd that come from? You know? And in the book, I even explain that to you, that when you are in an abusive situation, you sometimes pull yourself completely out of your body, literally gone, and your body is going and doing something and your mind is doing something else, and you have to be able to make the two work together. And when your mind is saying no and your body is saying yes, there's something wrong there, and you have to get control of your mind and understand how to be able to say, hey, I got to do something better here. And that's what this book is basically trying to help you find. And
So I know you have something special because we're kind of we could talk forever. I have known you for a long, you're a beautiful human being, and friend in my life. So you've got something a little special, regarding your book right now, something that you're offering. Please let everybody
oh,
know what you're offering.
yes. On my Etsy page, you'll be able to read a little bit more about it. In fact, every single item that I have for sale on my Etsy page tells a story. So if you want to know how the book is written, read all the stories on my Etsy page, for at every single item. But on this one specifically, if you buy one of these books for yourself right now, um, between now and February 14th,
Okay.
I will donate one of these books to a women's shelter or Narcotics Anonymous, or if you have a specific place you want it to go, make sure that you put it in the messages that that's where you want that book to go, so that that book will get there. And and the reason I say the Lower Mainland is because I like to present these in person. I like to
Oh,
give them to the people directly and say, this is a book of love, and it was donated by so and so. And and then will be putting those um, acknowledgments on my Facebook page, so that people can see that those books went to where they were supposed to go.
beautiful. So we'll make sure we put, after this is done, in the comments the Etsy link, so you guys can we'll make it super duper easy for you to get not one but two books. Can you imagine the heart, the change after you read the book and somebody else reading the book as well? And I'm
Uh,
sure too that you'll put a special little something in the book as well before you give it over to.
every book will have have a signature of love. It even has it is um it has my email address on the back.
So if you want to continue the love affair with, this beautiful author, there you go. So any last words as we wrap this up for, our maybe prospective authors out there, my connections? I so appreciate all of you guys tuning in because books
uh,
are so powerful.
Let me just see if I can find the one poem in here. A friend you are, a friend indeed, a friend you'll always be to me. But should our eyes ne'er meet again, the love we shared as family shall never cease to be.
And I think that is a perfect place to leave this. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I look forward to having your book up on our website. And the reason why I did this, one of the reasons, if I need any reasons in life to do anything that I do, is if I can meet these authors, either I've read the book, I've met the author, and I take their book away from the clutter of where everybody else puts their books. It's special because my business and my website is special to me. So you having your book on my virtual bookstore shelves mean you're special to me, and its
Aw.
topic line is special. So thank you
How,
again
how,
so
how do
much.
you do that? Like this? There you go.
I learned it. I learned a new one where you gotta pump it. You gotta pump
Oh,
the heart before you give
uh-huh.
it away.
There you go.
So thank you so much, and tune in next Tuesday at
Mhm.
7 o'clock. I have another author. I'm booked up with authors until the end of April, so I'm really excited.
Awesome. God bless.
Thank you so much.